When she was arrested, Kelly Cochran told police she had lured Chris Regan to her home on October 14, 2014, so her now deceased husband, Jason, could kill him.
We will continue this matter until such time as we have received a report from the Forensic Center.
It was frustrating that I think, and I talked to the boys about this, even having found enough to have arrested Kelly Cochran and getting a conviction would have never been the same for me. It would have never been closure for me or for them, probably, had we not found Chris Regan's remains, because that was important to me more than anything.
19 days after her arrest, Kelly Cochran led police to the wooded area where Regan's skull and eyeglasses were found. The skull showed he had been shot in the back of the head.
It was a huge thing. It was like, if I do this wrong, it could screw everything up, So I give a lot of credit to the prosecuting attorney, because she knew she had to do it, and she rolled the dice, and she did it.
Despite the lies, the false leads, and the attempts to deceive authorities, Kelly's story about the marriage pact now seemed to be true. But was there proof enough for a jury? In February of 2017, the trial against Kelly Marie Cochran got underway in Iron County Trial Court. Judge Richard Salello presiding. Molly Hollebeek was in the courtroom for the 13-day trial.
Whether it was the word of law enforcement or Kelly's own flesh and blood, testimony allowed her homicidal nature to be unveiled.
Well, it was her obligation to kill Chris. She meant that if she was performing a sexual act with Chris, that eventually Jason would get angry enough and he would just do it himself, even though she was supposed to be the one to do it.
She said that she drove down to a specific area of Pantoga Trail, and that she stopped so that her husband could get out and move his bags.
Kelly's story of Chris's murder began with inviting Chris over to the Cochrans' home after her husband Jason left with some friends. Though she had previously told an officer that Jason was waiting for Chris in the basement and was part of the murder pact they had if either one of them were caught having an affair.
Is that true?
No.
Okay.
It was something I had said, but there was never a plan.
Well, why'd you say that then?
It was a lie. I felt guilty.
She then goes on to explain what happens once Chris arrives.
Having sex with him, what happens then?
I don't know if I heard it. I know now that I had to, but I didn't hear it. There was a gunshot, and we fell down the stairs.
After they disposed of Chris's vehicle, she said Jason made her drive back to their home in Caspian and watch him take care of the body.
So he grabbed the Sawzall.
Right.
What happens then?
He uses the saw to cut him.
And after that, Cochran testified that Chris's remains were bagged, put into their truck, and taken to the Pantoga Trail. Yet Cochran stood her ground that Jason was at fault for Chris's death.
Because I had seen what he was capable of. I've seen what he did, how many times he had threatened me, how many times he had had a gun to my head. It's not just you can go get help. He's done a lot of things that I knew he would find a way to harm me and to kill me.
Even with hundreds of pieces of evidence, the defense argued that there was no way of knowing who pulled the trigger.
We only have Kelly's word as to what happened to Chris. Kelly's a liar. There is no proof that Kelly's stories, any of them, are anything but fiction.
But to the prosecuting attorney, the murder pact was enough to prove her guilt.
The defendants in this matter were bonded in blood. Chris Regan was bathed in it. And at this time, I'm asking you to wash away the blood and find the defendant guilty of all counts.